Hello, everybody, and welcome to this amazing podcast. You're probably listening it on. You might be seeing this on YouTube. My name is Kathleen Miner, founder of Hopefull Handbags global nonprofit, and I am here with Miss Kerrie Havern, who is an author and in our book called Handbags. So excited to have you here, Kerrie.
Oh, thank you so much for having me and giving us this amazing opportunity to, share everything with all the world.
Yeah. So, where are you from?
I am from a small village called Camla, and it is in Newry, County Down in Northern Ireland.
Northern Ireland. Okay. Welcome, welcome. We're happy to have you here. So I read your story. I was very inspired. I've been inspired by all the stories. And some of that is because they're inspiring stories. But in the book, they're all about something a little bit different. And the way that you have told the story and have had goodness come out of things that you've dealt with and gone through is really inspiring. And I think that's really important for us to pay attention to, because so many of us in life, I mean, let's face it, it's life. There's ups and there's downs, and sometimes when we're down, it's hard to get back up. So by seeing somebody else do it, it really gives us inspiration to allow that to happen. So thanks for sharing that your story with us. But I have some questions for you that I came up with and thought about by reading your story. And I want to know, what inspired you to break free from the toxic relationship during lockdown? I mean, how did you find the courage to take that step? Because for everybody, this was a different time. So it's like uncharted waters.
It was, I think my main reason was my son, and like the relationship was very, very toxic. And it was in a cycle, this real cycle of uh, bombardment of I want you, I want you, I want you. And then for like a couple of weeks, it would be good. But that cycle broke down to whereas I want you, I want you, I want you. And then the next day, the cycle would start again. And
Mm,
it really felt that I was losing myself. And
hmm
if I was losing myself for me, I wasn't going to be, I'm also losing myself there for my son. And I was just like, no, I can't do this and be isolated in this monstrosity that was my life. And I was like, no, I need to get a bit of support around me, and I need to get rid of this once and for
hmm
all. Um, which was a bit daunting at the same time, because you were having to admit that you needed help. And I've always been a very boisterous and outspoken woman. So for me to feel like this wee shadow of myself was, yeah, it was tough. And it was the kick I needed to look at myself in the mirror, all the weight I'd lost through just pure annoyance and stress, and go, no, no, this is not your future. And this is not the future your son deserves. And yeah,
Right.
I think that's what sort of put me over the edge. The fact that, it was going to be all happening now in isolation.
Yeah, because I'm sure you felt isolated at times anyway with being in an abusive situation.
Well, yes, in the sense that, the relationship had taken me away from my friendships, my bonds with my siblings. You know, it had got the first few times I broke up with him, and like I must have done this maybe 20 times. And I would have told people and been like, yeah, yeah, that's it. I'm not taking him back. He's no, 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 no. And then the bombardment would go and go and go. And it really got to the point where sometimes I want to tell them we were back together, but we've been broke up again by that. So, I isolated myself because it was embarrassing.
Hmm hmm
And for the position I held within the community, I was a boxing coach. I was teaching people how to be empowered.
Yeah.
And I think that was one of the biggest things. Like emotionally, I felt like one of my boxing bags. And I was like, no, 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 no. This can't be right. This can't be, this isn't right.
Right. And so that just brings me to just reiterate to everybody listening that when you're in situations like this, I mean, these are smart, intelligent, strong people that have a hard time getting out. So it's not, I think back in the day, I think it's just kind of coming out a bit more now, but people would be thinking, oh, they must be weak, they must be timid, they must be this, they must be shy. No, what I see
No.
from my experience is actually the opposite of what I mean. I see more of that.
Definitely.
Of
And
mhm,
I think I was just so fortunate that, I'm from a family of strong women. My best friend Yvonne is an exceptionally strong person, and also are my sisters. And when my best friend Nicola, Lisa, also strong women. And I think once I was ready to tell them, that's when everything changed. You
because
know,
they
I
will jump in. When your people are there.
oh,
They've been waiting.
they were here like a pack of wolves.
They were waiting. They were just probably in the thing going, okay, we've done all we can. She knows we're here at some point, and when she reaches out, we are on.
And definitely that is one thing two of my friends said to me, that they had been waiting for the call, you know.
Amen. Hmm. I love that. I really do because that's what I see. I mean, I see that, and I know even in my own life, there's situations that come up, and you can't. People have to be ready. You had to be ready. You
And
had to be
also
ready.
I had to be ready to let them become a part of it,
Right.
to
True.
get involved. You know, like I got a message from him telling me I was a person that would drive people to commit suicide. And I was like the furthest thing from, oh my God, all I wanted to do was be loved and give love. And I handed that to my cousin at the time. And it was her, she was like, we are acting on this now. This is not on. And it was my cousin that actually was the person who rang the police. She was the person that went, no, we now in Northern Ireland, if we have a responsibility, if we see something, to say something. And that was her moment. She saw
Mm.
it, she said it, and she acted. And her, my cousin, and my best friend, sorry.
Well, you have people that care about you. I mean, honestly, and in situations like that, just putting myself in a position of I have friends and family, and we love them just like your friends and family. They loved you
Absolutely. And
and
it
love you
was
still.
it was the support of that network
Hmm.
that got me through. I
Right.
was ready for the next steps of everything that he was going to try and throw at me, because instead of withdrawing and dealing with it on my own, I was straight onto the phone to the girls. I was like, this is happening now. We haven't tried this. Will we try this? You know, all amicable ways. We were trying our hardest to, get an end to it. But
Hmm.
the end did come when my cousin lifted the phone.
I love that, and I can feel that you feel their love too, and I think that's what you're feeling as well when you're talking about it. Not only the things that you've been through, but the fact that people are out there just loving
Yeah.
you and waiting. So you talk a little bit about how Caring Coins was born and what it meant to you and your community. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, well, so this touches a little bit on my best friend, Yvonne Campbell. At the same time, my friends in my network, which Yvonne is a part of,
Hmm.
she also had lost her mother and her brother in a car accident in the February of 2020. And then when we moved into lockdown in April, the trauma from that, she's a small family, was continued. And the two of us were both going through different traumas, and we reached out to support each other. When we went into lockdown here in Northern Ireland, everybody was sending in bottles of water to the hospital and PPE gear. And there was a thing out on social media for £20 for PPE. And at the time, I didn't have a spare £20 as I thought. But I
Mm.
went round the house, I gathered all the change, and lo and behold, I had like something like £33, 18p. And I thought, okay, me and Yvonne counted it up because we were in the same bubble. And we're like, if we can help now and we didn't think we could, I wonder if other people feel that way too. So we decided to call it Caring Coins because all the money raised we were going to use to care for people in our community. And we put up a page on Facebook and invited people to come on their daily drive to drop off their jars of change. And
Mm.
when this began, we didn't realize the impact or the full cycle that it would have. We were trying to do something to stay positive while we were trying to deal with our traumas and focus on something that was going to be good. So we had it all worked out. You called to the door. We asked you to step back. We took a photo of you then putting the money in the jar. And then what was happening was a lot of people were going back to the boots of their car and having the
Mm.
safe distance and talking to us for maybe half an hour. One lady was there for like 50 minutes, and we had been the first human contact she had had in 6 weeks.
Oh, wow.
So it was having a massive roll on effect. You know, people were feeling good about donating. They were getting a bit of company, a bit of chat at the door. And it was really helping me and Yvonne focus on the good that's there in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we did that. We raised £1,300.
Wow.
Yeah, it was quite successful for just a wee page at your front door with like maybe 100 people following you. So what we did was we got in touch with the A&E department, and they had said that they weren't allowed their handbags into work, and the doctors or the porters weren't allowed their, their gear bag with their change of clothes or whatever they may need for the day. So a lot of the female staff were getting caught out with maybe just their period. They wouldn't have their handbag there to go grab a sanitary item that, they were going to have to
Mm.
get stripped out of their PPE gear, go to their car, get what the item they needed from the car, come back in, go sort themselves out, get cleaned back down, back into PPE, back onto the ward. And then when they finished their shift, they had to go and isolate in a hotel room. So their mental health was in tatters.
Right.
And they were doing their best to keep us alive, protected.
Mm-hmm.
So we got in touch with a company called Savage and Witten up here, and they gave us wholesale on anything we wanted to buy. So we bought sanitary items, we bought neutral deodorant, shampoo, conditioner, so that male and female staff could avail of it. Biscuits, breakfast bars, an Alexa Dot for a wee bit of music to maybe lift them a bit.
Mm.
2 coffee machines that made 40 cups of coffee at a time. you
Wow.
know, things that we thought that would be helpful and get them through their day. And
Mm-hmm.
then we also reached out to a local girl, Tanya, and she got a company in England to make us blue and white bath bombs. So every member of the ED department got a bath bomb and a wee box of heroes. So we filled 3 cars and we drove to Kerrie Havern to deliver it. And the lady, Josephine Poland, we were, working things out and finding out, making sure we got the right items for them. So she came out with this, like a little airplane trolley. And we were sitting here with 3 carloads of items. And I mean, there was no rooms for passengers. Our seatbelts were on the
Oh,
chairs
geez.
because there was so much weight. It was registering.
Yeah.
So what happened then, they started trickling out from the department. All of the staff ended up coming out and having some photos, and everybody started getting quite emotional because we were providing something so basic that they needed.
Wow. I mean, out of just trying to find coins to be able to get some things, I mean, in such a time where you couldn't get out and do anything. I mean, this
Yeah.
has, so how is it impacting the your community and yourself? How is that helping today?
Well, we started as a group of mums in 2020. That
Hmm.
Christmas, we went door to door during lockdown, doing the same thing. We put the bucket at the door, we stood back. We raised £23,000 in 9 weeks and looked after 500 families for Christmas. So, come January, we got ourselves to the Confederation of Community Groups, who
Okay.
registered us as a community group. So we registered in April 21 as a group, and then in January 22 we became a registered charity of Northern Ireland. And in June 23 we opened our first community cafe, which is there to help fight social isolation. And yeah, recently I have become part of the Strike Back self-defense team, and even through the charity work, it's given me a lot of different uh, doorways that have been opened. So I'm also a registered community health trainer, which is something like I can be prescribed by, the doctor if you wanted to work on certain aspects of your life. I've done mediation. And yeah, aside from becoming another one of the amazing MIB team leaders, I am, yeah, going to be a strike back self defense coach. So, yes, and that is just looking back. I'm back to me now. I'm back
Yeah.
to that boisterous, fiery, come here to light, get your back girl.
Yeah. I can tell and I love it. Well, I'm part of the Strike Back team too. So
Oh, we're
there we
sisters
go.
now.
Yep, and of course Mib, big, part of that, because they're just amazing people and organizations that are together to help everyone, and
Yeah,
that's why we partner so much. Actually, both of those organizations are official partners with Hopefull Handbags Global, and you can see why, because of
absolutely.
talking to you. I
Absolutely.
mean, we can see why, and we all have things, and it all comes together and just really helps to not only empower people, but also have them realize that we're going this way. We're going forward. We're not going backwards. So let's do it. And then you've got
Yeah.
a whole support system behind you. So that brings me to some of my question. The next question was, how did training in self-defense and in your conflict mediation uh, transform your empowerment and purpose? Like, how did it get you back to being you?
I suppose a good bit of it is also down to my chapter. Um, like it was the first time I put it all out there. It was the first time some of my friends and family heard um it all together.
Hmm.
So it was like that in itself gave me such a sense of freedom of it that I was ready. Like the mediation I had done a couple of years ago, and yeah, I sort of felt okay, yes, I feel empowered by doing it.
Hmm.
I've been able to use it within the charity role that I play, keeping things smooth and making
Hmm.
sure people are being heard. And, that I suppose taught me how little I had been heard in the relationship, how that, you know, as big as my voice is, it became this squeak.
Hmm.
And how now with that teamed with letting it go and having this absolute new toolbox of skills is just like, I'm ready, you
Right.
know, I'm ready to let it all go and keep what I need to make sure I am there. I am going to be the best support I can be for the next girl I come across that has maybe been in my situation, whether it is mentally or a physical abuse, you know,
Hmm.
because I think that's something I struggled a lot with, was that it wasn't physical. That
Mm,
really, I think, again, going back to the fact at that time, I was running white collar fight nights and training like up to 40 men and women in boxing, and then coming home and getting my emotional and my mental health boxed into the ground, you know?
right, right,
So, yeah, I think instead I've always been the sort of person that, right, let's learn from what we can. Let's move forward and put what we don't need to bed. Give it
right.
back. Put it back out there. It's
Don't
not
need
mine
it.
to carry
Nope.
anymore.
It's done. been there, done that. I'm going this way.
I'm
And some
ready for
people,
this way.
and the thing is, as you know, and I'm sure this is what you teach. And the thing is interesting. You can teach this through self defense. You can teach it through the mediation. And I know this is what you do. That some people, not everybody's going to come with you on your journey, and that's okay. They're not supposed to come with you because they're still learning. They're figuring out where they are,
Yeah.
and I think that's really important. You're very inspiring, very, very inspiring, all the things that you do. And if anybody wants to learn more about Kerrie, and also obviously read her chapter in the book, that is available. Also, if you go to the Hopeful Handbag site, now that's hopeful with two L's, right? Like full of hope, and click on Kerrie's picture or her name. It'll take you to another page. That page will have her bio, but also anything that Kerrie's got going on that you can get in contact with her with. So make sure you go and check that out, purchase the book. And Kerrie, we're going to see a whole lot more of you, I know. And I look forward to doing some more things with you as far as podcasting goes, to talk about some of the other things that we just really couldn't get into today as far as what you do outside of all of this. So have an amazing day. And Kerrie, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much. And thank you for everything that you're doing for all of us ladies out there.
As we say at Hopeful Handbags, together we are stronger. So
Absolutely.
bye.
Bye.